CBC's project was titled Missing and Murdered: Unsolved Cases of Indigenous Women and Girls. It was a joint effort of CBC Manitoba's investigative unit and the CBC's Aboriginal site, but its work was spread over all its radio, TV, and online platforms. The CBC project was dramatic, exhaustive, and highly poignant. It set out to catalog all of the unsolved cases over the last 6 decades and to reach out to as many family members as possible. Here is a bit of how it looked.
Every day I picture her, see her walking out that door because that's the last time I seen her alive.
Just over 2 years ago, 15-year-old Leah Anderson walked out her front door and became one of the hundreds of missing, then murdered Indigenous women in Canada. And like so many others, her murder remains unsolved and her story untold.
Knowing somebody's out there right now, just living their life in hiding, in secret, and to what they did, kind of disgusts me in my heart.
Like there's just some people I have to watch out for. Not watch out for, but suspects that I heard of. And when I see them, I kind of just watch them, see how they react when they see me, because they must know that I'm her sister.
The decision in December by the new federal government to call an inquiry into the issue stemmed from many reasons, but most notable was the laser-focused media attention that this issue was attracting. And this certainly included the powerful and overwhelming impact of the CBC special series. On behalf of the CBC team, as recipients of the 2016 Canadian Hillman Prize, please welcome Connie Walker and as many members of the team as possible to the stage.
We are much bigger than the 4 of us that are on stage, and I just want to say thank you very much to the Hillman Foundation, and thank you to the Globe and Mail and Enquête for their incredible work. My name is Connie Walker. I am incredibly honored to be the person to accept the award on behalf of what was an incredibly large team that worked hard, really hard for months and for a year on helping to tell these stories and helping to bring awareness to this issue. I think the first people that we really need to mention are the researchers who, as Tony mentioned, spent so much time reaching out to families, to over 100 families of missing and murdered Indigenous women whose cases are still unsolved, families who don't know what happened to their loved one. And those researchers, reaching out to them and hearing these stories, some of them, it was the first time they'd ever spoke about their loved one to anyone, to the media. And I think that the fact that they were able to connect with so many families and to gain their trust really speaks to the dedication and to the commitment shown by Kimberly Ivany, who is here right now, and T.R. Wilson, who is in Winnipeg, and Chantel Bell Richard and Martha Troyan. And I really can't thank those women enough for their commitment and dedication to this issue, because it means a lot. Yeah. But obviously there were a lot of other people involved in the digital project, which was incredible. So I definitely want to acknowledge Cecil Rosner and Kate Friesen, who's here, Duncan McHugh, William Wolf Wiley, Richard Graisley, Michael Lachère, Michael Pereira, who's also here. And I don't know why he's not up on stage. Michael, hello. There he is, yes. Joanne Levasseur, Tegan Baudet, Christy Hoffman, who's here and was part of the Globe series as well, which is incredible. Donna Lee and Tara Lindman. And of course, the coverage at CBC was not only the digital project that we launched last year, it was also the continuing coverage and ongoing coverage on TV and radio. And so I really want to acknowledge a producer that I've worked really closely with, Marnie Luke and Heather Evans and Corinne Semenoff, for helping to continue to tell these stories, because it continues to be a priority for us, and I'm so proud of that. The first MMIW story that I pitched was over 10 years ago in 2005, when a girl I knew from back home went missing. Her name was Amber Redman, and I didn't know her very well. I coached her in volleyball for a short time while I was in university. She was a really bright, smart, shy girl who I always had to tell to take off her big gold hoop earrings that she wore to volleyball practice every week. And the summer that she went missing was the same summer that Alicia Ross went missing in Toronto, and I'm not sure how many of you remember Alicia Ross, but she was also this beautiful young woman from Toronto who was blonde, and Alicia's story was on the cover of all of the national newspapers that summer, and her disappearance was covered on all of the national newscasts. And I heard about Amber's disappearance through an email chain that her family had sent out. They were so desperate to get the word out about her disappearance. And I remember sitting at my desk getting that email and thinking, that there were so many similarities in their cases, that there were these beautiful young women who had these bright futures ahead of themselves, and also these families who were just in agony over their disappearance. But Amber's story wasn't making not even regional headlines, but national headlines. And I remember pitching a story at the time about not only their disappearances, but the contrast in how we were covering them. And my producer at the time, when I started to pitch this story, said, "This isn't another poor Indian story, is it?" And I remember, feeling obviously really shocked about that, but also, that there obviously wasn't an interest in me pursuing this. And I tell that now because, I wasn't able to tell Amber's story, but her mother pushed and pushed and pushed and brought her daughter's story into the spotlight and into the limelight, and it did make headlines. It made, regional headlines and national headlines. And, for the last 10 years, it's been the families of missing and murdered Indigenous women who have been continuing to push this issue and continuing to fight for justice and for truth for their loved ones and the bigger issue. And now it's over 10 years later, and this incredible work that we're honoring tonight is something that we should all be proud of, but really it's something that every national news organization across the country is doing. We're all covering the issue of missing and murdered Indigenous women, which is obviously amazing, but I feel, we're really just scratching the surface. It's like an iceberg, and we're at the tip of the iceberg, and we're really scratching the surface in terms of not only helping to tell missing and murdered Indigenous women's stories, but also the truth and the realities of what Indigenous people in Canada live with today. And as a journalist who, I became a journalist to help tell these stories. I have to say it's an exciting time to be a part of an organization that's made this a priority, and I'm so proud of that. And that I'm really just incredibly happy and honored to be here to accept this award, because I think that now there is a recognition that not only is there an audience or a growing audience for these stories, but that they're important. That these are important to not just Indigenous communities across the country, but to all Canadians, and that they deserve to be told. So thank you very much.